working on our taxes all evening and I just need a break. It's like 9 o'clock, I think, and I just want to sit down and play with some makeup just to get my mind off of everything. I just want to get taxes off the brain here for a minute. So, a video that I thought would be interesting would be looking at Ulta's worst rated products. Now, the way that I do this is I just went on each section of the makeup. I selected top rated as the filter and I scrolled all the way to the end. And then I went back through and the first worst rated product that I own is what I pulled out. I like doing these kinds of videos, whether it's lowest rated or any different types of categories, highest or best rated drugstore, whatever it may be. I like doing these kinds of videos because it causes me to dive back into the makeup I already own. A lot of people, when they do these types, they'll actually like buy the first thing they see, but I don't really want to, especially like the worst rated stuff, I don't really want to spend my money on something that's rated so poorly. So I scroll through until I see the first thing that I own, and that's what we put together in this video. So I have one of everything from every category that I went through. So full face. Two of these products, I will say, let me think, is it two? There are three products in this that I am completely shocked by because they're three of my absolute favorites. There are two of these that I am not surprised whatsoever. There's one product that I haven't even tried yet. I purchased it for a different video, and then when I got on there and was looking, it happened to be the first one. I'm like, oh, I haven't even tested that yet. So let's go ahead and we are going to get into this full face of worst rated Ulta makeup. So the first thing we're going to do is go in with brows. I was not shocked by this whatsoever. This is probably my least favorite brow product that I have tried. Does my screen look dark? Do I look like I have a shadow casting up here? Okay, the first thing we're going to try is the LA Girl Brow Bestie Long Wearing Gel. I have tested this in a previous video and I have spoken about how I am just not really a fan of it. My biggest issue with it is the application. Like, you have this kind of a miniature spoolie like you do with the e.l.f. Wow Brow Gel and with the Flower Beauty Fiber Fix Brow Gel, but you're getting so much product coming out of this. So I mean, that is one plus, is that you get a lot of product for your money, but the application is just honestly kind of awful. So let me show you what I mean. This is me going straight into my brow, having just pulled this out of the tube. Can you see just how much product is being dispersed? I mean, my brow is soaked. So clearly you have to have a secondary spoolie to work with this, because otherwise you're going to just have too much product placed into your brow from the start. So going in with the second, and then you've already placed all of that product onto your brow. So then even when you spoolie it, it's like it has nowhere to go. You know what I mean? It's messy. It's just messy. So now I have to go in with a makeup wipe and try to clean up all of that excess product. And while you may be getting a lot of product, I feel like you're wasting, because you have to like clean it up after you've applied so much excess. So now let me show you a secondary way that you can apply this. Go in with kind of a angled detail brush, pull this out, and then get you some of the product on here. Does this have fibers in it? Long Wearing Gel. I'm thinking maybe it does. Anyway, we've got some of the product now on the brush. And now we can apply that to our brows. Okay, now spoolie it out. And even with this technique, it still needs slightly cleaned up. So I think what my issue with this is, number one, it's not a nice application with the actual applicator that's provided with the product. And so to get any type of a clean application, you have to have a secondary method or way of applying. Like, it's just too much work. I just spit. It's too much work for something that I don't really like. It's a little too dark, and this is the shade, oh, it's okay, it's dark blonde. I didn't realize I got this shade dark blonde, but like, this brow's definitely better than this brow. Like, I could deal with this brow, but still, I don't like it. I don't like the application. It's so much product, even though I went in with a separate applicator. I'm not a fan of it. All right, so we're gonna move on, but yeah, I can totally see why this one was rated so poorly. All right, so next, moving into eyes. I actually was shocked by this one, even though I haven't used it a lot on my channel yet, but it was this shade specifically, the Essence Taupe It Up eyeshadow palette. These are $4 eyeshadow palettes that you can get from Ulta. I actually have another one, and it is in the shade Coral Me Maybe, which I actually really like. I've done a video on it prior, but here is the other shade I own. But I thought, just for the sake of makeup science, we are going to do eye primer on only one eye instead of both, just to see if maybe the reviews, like the people who did use this palette, didn't use any type of primer, and maybe that does or has affected their view of this eyeshadow. So we'll do a little Milani on this eye, and we'll just leave this eye kind of plain Jane. I'm going to go in on both eyes in the crease with this kind of a very light taupey gray shade. And this is our side with no eyeshadow primer. I'm just going to use this as my crease color. Honestly, not seeing a lot of pigmentation on this side. Let's see what it looks like on the side with some eyeshadow primer. Probably a little more color payoff, but not too extreme. You can see a little bit more of that gray coming through on this side with the eyeshadow primer. So then let's go in all over the lid with this gray shade. So starting with this gray shade, we're just gonna pack that all over the lid. Honestly, that's looking nice. It's not patchy, getting pretty decent and easy color payoff. Now let's try it on this side with the primer. Just a smidge more pigmented on this side, because I think obviously with the primer it kind of has something to grip to, and so there is just a bit more pigmentation on this side with the primer. Okay, now let's go into the outer corner with some of this shade. It is a shimmer shade, but it's the darkest shade, so let's apply a little bit of this in the outer corner. Okay, now let's try this side with the primer. Not really seeing a large difference on either side with that darker shade. Now let's go in on the lid with some of this on our finger. So I'm just going to put it right in the middle. Now let's try that same shade on this side. Again, now with this shade, I will say there's a little bit more pigmentation. I think because the base was already more pigmented, so that allowed the shadow going on top of it to be more pigmented. But honestly, this side without the primer isn't bad either. So perhaps the issue was that the poor reviews came from people who didn't use the eyeshadow primer to begin with. I think if you have a really good base, Milani, you just can't beat it. The Profusion Cosmetics one is great. I've used the Wet n Wild one in the past. Not quite as big a fan of it now that I've used Milani, but I really like it. I think it's a nice taupey cool tone palette, and I really don't have anything bad to say about it. So now again, I've only tried these two shades. I do like them. I've also seen reviews where it does depend on what shade you get as to whether or not it works really well. I've seen some people not really loving the green one, but they like the blue one. So as far as what I've tried, the coral and the taupe I actually really enjoy. But I definitely will say a good eye primer is going to make a difference in the pigmentation and therefore the overall look. Product for mascara, I have not tried. I'm hoping I got my lashes clean enough. I had mascara on earlier. This is the new Revlon So Fierce Eyes Wide Open Lifted High Volume Mascara. It says it has conditioning cannabis, sativa, hemp seed oil, up to 24-hour wear. I will not be doing that. This formula, derived from cannabis, blah, 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 thickens each lash from root to tip for instant high volume with a lightweight feel. Lashes stay lifted and volumized all day. Eyes appear bigger, more open, and awake. Now, I will say, I do the original So Fierce. Actually really like this. This is what the applicator looks like. Let's do one on each eye, since they're like the same kind of line. Let's test them out. Why not? We're just full of scientific things happening here tonight. Okay, so this one, the wand is hourglass. So it has kind of shorter spikes and then longer spikes. And then, like I said, with the regular So Fierce, it's just a straight triangular type applicator. Okay, so on this eye, we will go in with the Eyes Wide Open So Fierce. Again, that is the Hourglass applicator. So let's make sure we really get down, rolling. Try to hit all of those what do you call those, spikes? I don't know. I'm a little scared for my eyeball, I can tell you that. Oh, I am getting a lot of, that was odd, a lot of volume. Do have a little bit of a curl on that, okay. Now let's compare it to the original So Fierce. Oh, okay. So far the difference I'm noticing is this one, the Eyes Wide Open, gave me curl, whereas this one is giving me volume, but not curl. So here we have the Eyes Wide Open and the traditional So Fierce. Both volumizing, but this one, the Eyes Wide Open, is actually giving me curl. So unless throughout the day it like smears and smudge, I'm not mad at it. But again, I'm not going to be wearing it very long because it is already like 9 o'clock at night. But yeah, I am actually impressed off of initial application with that mascara. I'm not upset with it. Okay, so now let's go into primer. This was actually rated as, oh, that sounds weird, as one of the worst rated drugstore primers. From Essence, it is the My Skin Perfector Tinted Primer. Instant blur effect, natural matte finish. Mine is an 05 natural. Now, if you have seen my previous videos where I talked about tinted products, I use this as a standalone product. So the fact that I'm going to be using this as a primer, I'm a little worried about because I've used it as full face coverage. So I am going to do, we need a little hydration. Okay, let that soak in. So let me show you what this is. Kind of thick, kind of moussey, and it does blur. I will give it that. It definitely blurs. I'm hoping that if I can warm it up, so like, look at the difference. See my veins, how it's just kind of blurred over on this hand. I've actually never used this as a primer. I've always used it as a standalone product. So let's give it a shot. Okay, I'm going to warm it up in between my fingers. You know, shockingly, I am not upset. That really did nicely blur. This is why I like doing these. It makes me pull out products that I normally don't use and give them a try. That blurred very nicely. That might be a nice product for under a powder foundation to just blur and give a little bit of coverage to my redness on my cheeks. Okay, so as a primer, we're going to test that out once we put a foundation on top. But as far as blurring, yeah, okay. All right, for concealer, this one is from Flower Beauty, the Red Carpet Secret Eye Bright Palette, and this is in Fair. So what we have here is a eye primer, 2 shades of concealer, and a powder. I will be honest, even though this is their Fair, could have done with like an extra fair, an alabaster, if you will, because this concealer is quite yellow for a fair. The powder is quite dark and has a little bit of shine to it, like a little bit of shimmer. This concealer doesn't even match my face for face concealing. This is the cooling wand, treatment wand. So I think, so using your cooling treatment wand, apply a thin layer of balm under the eyes and massage to help blur imperfections. So let's go into this. I think my biggest issue with this product is like the bulkiness of the packaging for a concealer. Now, I guess though, if you take into consideration that this also contains your setting powder, if it works for you, then it is kind of a 2-in-1 product. So I guess that could kind of help. I don't know what the words I'm saying is. Like, could kind of help with counteracting the not wanting to use it because the packaging is so bulky. All right, so now our eyes are Under eyes are primed. Mix the two concealer shades and blend to achieve your perfect match. Finish with our universal brightening powder for a soft, natural glow. So I'm not even going to mix any of this shade in because this is already too dark for me for what I consider a shade of concealer that I like. So I'm going to take a little bit on my finger. That's not a mirror. And let's do it on one eye. And then we'll kind of take a look. Spreading very far, which I think may be attributed to some of that primer. Okay, so there's what it's looking like. Definitely did conceal and brighten. All right, let's go ahead and do it on the other eye. This is definitely a product where the warmth of your finger is a major plus in making it more malleable. So now let's go ahead and put on some of this powder, which I'm a little bit nervous about. Taking some of this universal setting powder. Let's do one eye and then compare. I feel like I lost a little bit of the brightness. Oh, I don't like how it looks. Yeah, I don't like that. Let me try it with my normal powder brush. That's better, but I still don't like it. Considering that this shade's too dark, I do not like the powder. I'm not typically going to be using a prepping balm or primer, whatever it's called. The price of this for this one shade that still really isn't even my correct shade just really isn't worth it for me. Okay, so going into, oh, I don't like the powder, guys. Don't like that powder. Okay, so going into foundation, there was actually two, like right side by side that I own. The first one was, unfortunately, very, very poorly rated. The Good Apple Skin Perfecting Foundation Balm from KVD. And next to that was the Revolution Conceal and Glow Illuminating Foundation. So, you know me and her, we have a sordid history. So if you're interested in those videos, go check those out. But because I have done quite a few videos with this foundation, today we are going to go into the Conceal and Glow. This one does have a pump. I do think, if I'm not mistaken, the original foundation like this, not the Glow, but just the other one, has a doe foot, if I'm not mistaken. My foundation is in the shade F1. It's been a hot minute since I've used this. I don't even remember what my thoughts were on this either. So here we have one pump. It smells like paint. And I'm going to take my sponge, give a little, my fan just blew up. Let's go ahead and blend this in. First impression, it's looking a little dry, which maybe the primer, I'm not sure. Let's see if we can add a little bit of coverage here. Okay, it actually seems like the more that I'm trying to add on my cheek, it's actually kind of taking away coverage. It's not setting on top of my skin or anything, but it just, I don't know, it's like there's just something that looks off, and maybe that is because the primer in this doesn't mix. I'm not sure. So let's go ahead, try the other side. Does anybody else watch that? Oh, I have to think of her name on TikTok. She always calls her sponge Chauncey. I think she did a story time of like where that came from. But guys, we ought to name my sponge. What should her name be? That was a lot. Whoops. What should her... I feel like she's a girl. So she's purple, violet. I don't know why Stella's kind of coming to my mind. I'm not sure. Somebody tell me, what should we name her? I want to be cool like her. Chauncey needs a friend in the sponge world. Okay, so again, it's not sitting on top of my skin. It's not... I don't know. There's just something about it I don't like. And I can't quite put my finger on it. So we'll double back to that and we'll look at it after we get the rest of the products on. So the next product, this one was one that kind of didn't shock me. This is the Colourpop Cheek Dew Serum Blush. I have mine in the shade Psst. Now if you will look though, where it's been sitting, it has kind of separated, like the oil and the pigment. And I wanted to show you that before I give this a good shake and see if we can't reincorporate it all together. I honestly don't use this very much. I'm not really a big fan of it. It kind of reminds me of the CoverGirl Clean Fresh ones. Just wasn't really a big fan of that either. Also did a full video on a bunch of cream blushes from the drugstore if you're interested. I think she's reincorporated. Let's give it a little... Oh, that was a lot. Okay, so again, this is the shapes. See, like, it's just so... I don't know. I don't know what the word is. But anyway, let's pop some on. You see how like sheer it's going to for the amount of pigmentation that was just on my finger? And look, it's like already kind of blended away. So let's see what we can get here. That's a little better. Okay, so we did end up using the majority of that pump that came out. Oh, I don't know. It's looking very glowy. I'm not mad at it, but there's really, I don't know. Like there's glow, but there's not really color. One of my favorites is actually from Dollar General, from Believe Beauty. These are their Color Me Cream blushes. Do you see the difference like in the pigmentation straight out the gate? I don't know. Again, there's just something I can't quite put my finger on that I like the shine, but there's not really a lot of color behind the shine. So then I'm kind of like, I don't know. That one's in the I don't know category as well. So these two are kind of in the I don't know category. All right, so let's go ahead and powder this one. I understand that there has been mixed reviews. I understand completely. But for me, this is one of my beloved holy grails currently. NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop Mattifying Powder. In fact, I love this powder so much, I have already bought a new one. Because look how much I use it. I've wore off the packaging. I'm hit and pan. That's how much I love this powder. Mine is in the shade Fair. Look at that. Isn't that pretty compared to this? That just shows you how much I love it. I'm very shocked that this was so poorly rated. However, I have seen, you know, people do reviews of this and them just not enjoy it. I think even perhaps Tati was one. Didn't love it. I'm not for sure, but I clearly love this powder. I think it does great on the under eyes. It sets and slightly blurs without making it, taking away any of the brightness from my concealer. I love this stuff. I use it literally every day. Yeah, see, now that I've used powder and set down that shine, now, I will say, I use this powder enough to know that what I'm seeing currently, I don't think is the result of the powder. I think it is the foundation. Can you see how it's like just kind of breaking apart right here and really sinking into my fine lines? Not loving it. All right, so for bronzer, this was also a shocker because this is an older product, but a recent discovery for me, and I was using the crap out of it there for a while until I got into kind of like a shimmery, bronzy, dewy look again. But this is the NYX Matte Bronzer. This is in the shade Light. I actually really like this because it has a slight rosiness to it in this light shade that is perfect for someone who is fair like me, to give you the kind of that sun-kissed bronze look. And it's not orange, but it's got, like I said, like kind of that rosy sun-kissed. I really like it. So I was actually shocked to find this rated so poorly. And again, this is not a newer product. This is something that has been out for quite a while. But it was a new discovery for me when I did the full face of NYX products. So just having recently discovered it, I rather enjoy it. So I was shocked, like I said, when it was listed so low down. Another one that was listed was the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzers. This is in What Shady Beaches. I actually agree with that. Like this one, I understand. This one I understand why it's so low rated, because it does. Let me show you. This one does have kind of that orangey undertone. I didn't use this because I actually thought I had decluttered it already. Whereas the NYX doesn't have that orangeness to it, which is very appreciated in bronzers for pasty people. But yeah, if I had realized I had this until just a moment ago, I would have used this one. I do not like this bronzer. It's way too orange. But again, I thought I had already decluttered it. Okay, where are we at? Highlighter. Very shocked about this one, because this one I seen Manny MUA. I seen Manny MUA use in a video, and he loved it. And to find this one so low rated was kind of a shock. The Revlon Skin Lights Prismatic Highlighter, and this is in Daybreak Gleamer. This is supposed to be like a drugstore dupe for the Anastasia Beverly Hills Omrizi highlighter, which I wouldn't know. I've never owned it. But it is one of the few gold highlighters that I have kept, because it's like the right white gold almost. Like it's not so dark that it's too much for my skin tone. I actually really like it. Like I said, it is one of these few gold highlighters that I have kept. So to see this so poorly rated was actually kind of a shocker. Do you see that, like, I have no color in my cheeks? I think that's why. Maybe it's not the formula, maybe it's the shade. I feel like there's no color in my cheeks. Okay, so for lips, I really don't have an opinion on this one because I didn't technically purchase it. I got it for free with an order that I placed. I think it was through Ulta, if I'm not mistaken. This is the NYX Filler Instinct Plumping Lip Color in Beach Casual. I mean, it's a pretty shiny nude color. Nothing wrong with that. Ooh, it does look a little rough on my lips when you get right up in there. I feel a slight plumping sensation, but it's nothing too extreme, nothing like hurtful or anything like that. So, I mean, maybe if you want that pain, maybe if you like the pain, then yeah, you wouldn't be a fan of this. One product that I forgot to mention was this one, the eyeliner, which I'm not going to put it on now because I've already done my mascara, but this is the Revlon Colorstay. Ooh, okay, it's getting a little more intense, not painful, but I can feel it more. The Revlon Colorstay Micro Hyper, it's late and I'm having a hard time. Revlon Colorstay Micro Hyper Precision Gel Eyeliner, and this is in the shade brown. I actually really like this eyeliner. It is very thin. It gives you a very detailed line. There's no fraying. I think the only issue that people may have with this, and this is an issue I have, is that because it is so small, I mean, I don't even know if you can, it is, because it is such a small tipped eyeliner, it goes quickly. I keep a backup just because, like, every time I use it, I quickly go through it. But I do like it as far as eyeliners are concerned. It is very glidey. It doesn't tug. It doesn't pull. My issue is that you go through it very quickly. Okay, I need some color. I need something because there's no color on my cheeks. There's no color on my lips. Just putting on a little Milani blush. Why? I don't know. I'm getting ready to take a shower. There. I can't keep talking to you and staring at myself in this camera with, like, no color. I don't know why I always pull these down. They just get blown away. Anyways, all right. So let's do a recap real quick. Okay, so as far as the foundation goes, it looks nice everywhere except for right here around my lips. So perhaps next time I wouldn't use this primer in this area right here, and I would use something more hydrating, like just a lotion or a moisturizing primer. But brows, I don't like it. I'm actually going to declutter it because I literally never use it because I don't like it. Eyeshadow. Actually enjoy the eyeshadow. Definitely, I mean, as you can still see, I think primer makes the difference. Mascara. Pleasantly surprised by the mascara. Actually, I'm excited to use that again because it really did give me some curl, which is honestly kind of difficult for me to find a mascara that will give me curl, just like right off the bat. So that was actually a interesting find. For primer, kind of excited about this. Like I said, I've never used it as primer, and I do intend to play with this some more. So for me, this was actually a good rediscovery. Foundation, I think what I'll do is give it one more try with something very moisturizing underneath. No, not this primer. And then that will be my deciding factor on that. The concealer, I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. It's too dark. Don't use. Way too dark. Do not like. So I think that for me, I am going to go ahead and just say goodbye to this. I actually think I'm going to get rid of this as well. I might give this to my sister. The formula is not bad. It's just not giving me enough. Like, I like blush, but I think for her very natural, very skin-like with just a little bit of something, she might actually really enjoy this. So I'm going to give this to my sister. My powder, you know how I feel about my NYX. Can't stop, won't stop mattifying powder. It's not going anywhere. I love that stuff. Highlighter, actually very shocked. Love it. I like the liner. And the lip stuff, I think I am going to go ahead and get rid of this as well because it's not that the formula is really bad. The plumping sensation's okay. It's not giving me any extra oomph on my lips, but the color for me is way too pale. It looks weird. That's my thoughts. Use an eye primer and be careful with how much brow product you put in. So thank you for watching this video. Let me know down below, what are your thoughts on these products? Did anything shock you? Was anything like, yep, that's what I thought? just let me know anything. I like interacting with you in the comments, so give me all your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you will like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.